You know what time of day it is when I can't see and I do my lives. Okay, cool beans. Alrighty, I'm prepared this time, guys. I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds and then we'll get into it. Hi, Cicely. How are you, sweetheart? So I see Carmen came in. If she's here. Hi, Carmen. Madison. Good to see you here, too. Let's see. Hi, Carmen. How are you, love? Whew. Guys, it is hot outside. It is humid. You know I had to put my hair up because my hair gets nappy, like real kinky and real, too much. All right, guys, so we're going to get right into it because you guys know me. I like to start things off like we just go right into it. So welcome to Intuitive Vibes, Narc Survival 101. It is your girl, Erica, here. If you're new to the channel, your first time coming across the channel, stick around. You may hear some things you may need to know. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. If I don't have a chance to answer them, you got plenty of survivors in the group that will be more than glad to help you out with whatever it is that you need. And if you happen to like today's session, we do a weekly live every week, every Tuesday. If you like today's session, then check out some of my other content. If it helps you out, hit the subscribe button so that way you're notified every time we put up a video or every time we go live, which is pretty standard, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, to all of my existing Vibers, subscribers, and support group, welcome back, everybody. Hey, Gil. Hi, Stella. Yeah, the humidity is just too much. And when you got hair like mine, it just gets so frizzy. I said, nope, we're putting it up, keeping it up. It's supposed to rain for the rest of the week, so not even trying to bother with it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes throughout the week. Hi, Logan. Hi, sweetheart. I'm so happy to see you guys here today. How was your weekend, guys? How's everybody's weekend? I am stuck drinking a lot of water. By directions by Amanda. She says I need to drink more water. So I cut down on my coffee intake. I had to. But it's actually not bad. I drink water and I drink it with these little energy squirt thingies. They come like in a little triangle container. And you just squeeze like a couple of drops in your water and it gives it like some flavor. So not that I don't like water, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So I like a little flavor in mine. And this one is the berry one. Has like electrolytes. It's kind of like Gatorade, and it's pretty good too. So if you're not a big fan of water, you guys should get it. Like it's like in a triangle. If you guys have, I'll try to find it and I'll probably put it in the comment section. Gilbert got his tan and went to see my family. That's awesome, hon. That's awesome. So guys, what goes on? Just a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Like always. And of course we can, anybody needs to has any questions or wants to give their input, definitely do so. I don't know what's going on with my other phone, so I'm gonna kind of go back and forth with it. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, some of you may have already experienced this. Some of you may not have. Some of you may not know what to expect if you do experience this. But the one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was triggers. Okay, I wanted to talk about triggers and what they are, how they affect us, and pretty much what causes them. Because a lot of us have experienced a trigger, maybe more than once. Some of us may have experienced a trigger and not realize that we're experiencing it. But I was having a conversation with someone and they, they were experiencing certain types of feelings and emotions in connection with the the person who was the abuser in their life. And they were like, I was doing so well, and boom, like I just kind of regressed. So I had to explain it to them that you pretty much just experienced what we all experienced, what we're all experiencing, which is a trigger. And then pretty much a trigger is your reaction to a situation that kind of brings you back to that place when you were dealing with your abuser. And how we develop triggers, how we form these triggers, is that we associate our abusers, we associate the person or the people who represent the narcissist in our lives. We associate them with certain places, certain events, certain times of the year, what have you, even certain people. Okay, people who are associated with the narcissist can actually trigger you. So it doesn't have to be the narcissist directly. It can be someone who's affiliated with the narcissist, or like I said, if you associate certain places that you used to go, or certain events that you used to celebrate together, that can also bring up a trigger. Stella, the ex-narc was trying to chat up a girl in a different city. She deleted him. He went off on her, and she had to block him on multiple profiles. They get worse. Yeah. Well, what's crazy is that a lot of it really depends on the type that you're dealing with, because you do have some narcs that are just like, they're gonna, pretty much try to just gain supplies somewhere else if they know they have no, like, completely no chance. But you do have narcs that become completely obsessive, especially if they have endured narcissistic injury. So like if they get rejected by someone or by a group of people, if they get rejected and they feel like that injury kind of penetrates them, they can become completely obsessive and very extremely petty. You have I think I find that more to be with extroverted narcs, the ones that are like super entitled. Like they feel like, you have to, like, you got to give me the attention. You got to, like, look at me and how dare you, like, reject me. A lot of those are the extroverted ones. Those are the more flamboyant ones. But they can become extremely, extremely obsessed and extremely petty. And they can kind of intertwine the two, where, like, in the midst of their obsession, they are beyond petty, where a lot of them run, like the smear campaigns, and they will create fake profiles, even though you've probably blocked like all 50 of them. They'll, with these websites, you can create as many profiles as you want. So that's the one advantage that narcissists, manipulators, sociopaths have, is that they can really broaden, like they can just, which it makes absolutely no sense. It's like, okay, you go through all of this retribuge to kind of do what you do to your victims, but yet you find the need to, like, stoop so low as to creating all of these fake accounts, monitoring and just being completely obsessed. I guess, Stella, that's like more with that narcissistic injury, So if you've injured a narcissist, or if you've injured you like destroyed their ego, they can come back with a vengeance, and they can come back very, very, like, set on trying to really, really hurt you, trying to humiliate you, trying to, like, just make you feel completely low. And my best suggestion is to ignore them. They're like big kids. They really are. They're like, it's that id that I was telling you guys before. Babies, like, they develop the id. It's id. It's a part of the brain that feels like, I don't get what I want, I'm gonna keep going and keep going and keep going until I either get until I get what I want, which can either be you submitting to me, or you, like, feeling just as hurt as my ego feels. So just bear that in mind, guys. Like, that part of the brain is really, like I said, I find it more common with extroverted narcs. Like, introverted narcs, vulnerable narcs, those are the ones that are like, they're the covert ones. So they could be malicious in their own ways, But the extroverted ones are the ones that are just like, they got to constantly have the focus on them, constantly have the attention. So they'll constantly keep poking. They'll just keep poking and poking and poking. And you guys know how I feel about that. They keep poking the bear. Eventually you're gonna snap back, which reminds me of something that I want to mention to you guys. Hi, Magnificent. Oh, thanks, Amanda. Yeah, the water flavored drops called they're called Mio. I don't pay attention. I just squirt them in my cup and that's it. Hi to Exclusive. Yeah, Stella, I'm not surprised if she, she reached out to you, because it's like, you can't, like, not everybody can be wrong. There has to be, like, there's a certain point where people have to really just sit for a second and say, okay, there's something clearly obviously wrong with you, and you just clearly have issues, and the last person you dealt with has made that abundantly clear that you have issues. I'm gonna speak to this person and really and just get the feel of you, because narcs, when they're in narcissistic injury and they're in like deviant mode and they're just like very petty and very malicious in their ways, they are, I try to avoid them as much as possible, really try, because all you're going to be doing is you're just going to be you're playing at their game, but you're fighting a losing fight, because if they have that much influence on other people, if they have that much of a say so, where other people would like veer more towards them, it's not worth your time. It really isn't worth your time. Yeah, to Exclusive. They've always had that sense of entitlement. They've always walked around with that, and that's something that they built within themselves. Believe that or not, it's like, unless they had parents that were very, like they projected onto them. The parents projected onto them that sense of entitlement, like, because the parents always felt entitled, so they projected that onto the narcissist themselves. They just have this like, I deserve, I should have, I'm entitled to whatever I want, and I don't even have to put in the work to do it like that. I don't have to give as much. You being the survivor or the victim, you should feel, happy and content that I'm actually giving you attention and I'm embracing you, with my presence. And it's like, who the hell are you? Seriously, who are you? Like, you just walk into my life and all of a sudden it's just, you get a little bit of control, because that's their thing. They get a little bit of control. They have that taste of like a little bit, because you validating them, guys, you giving them the validation, you giving them things that you feel that they deserve. You feel that it's not that entitlement. It's, what, you're a nice person, and of course we know that's the mask. You're a nice person, you're a sweetheart, you're this, you're that, you've done some things for me. And once they get that little taste of power, little taste of control, it's kind of like if you work in an office setting and one of your coworkers was given, like a not a superior title, but they were given a little bit more of a higher ranking in the office, so they automatically think they're your boss. They automatically think, oh, I got that little taste of power, so now I run this up in here. Failing to understand, you don't sign my checks. So regardless if you want to think you are the manager or the supervisor or whatever here because you got a little more responsibility, that means shit. You don't sign my checks. You don't pay me. I don't work for you. That's how a narcissist thinks. In your relationship, that's how they think. In your family dynamic, that's how they think. You give them an inch and they basically just yank because they want that whole yard. Let's see. Hi, Emmanuel. Oh, that's awesome. Love from Boston and Narc free. Awesome, dude. All right, let's see. Hi, Marcelo. Hi, Hello Kitty. So, let me see. Oh, Oh, Cicely, I'm sorry to hear that. And I hope he's doing well. I hope he's doing well. So yeah, guys. So in regards to the trauma, I'm sorry, the triggers. Triggers are pretty much kind of what, like I said, what we associate abuse with. So it's a form of PTSD. Okay, that's a part of you that has not been completely cleared out. So when I spoke with the person, they were unsure of what they were feeling. They were unsure of what was going on because, they were on such a straight and narrow path, and then boom, something happened. They came into contact with someone who's affiliated with the person that abused them, and they just totally, it's like everything came rushing back in. It's because we associate people, places, and even things with the abuser. So when you are in the midst, a trigger is pretty much your reality that there are certain parts of you that still need to be healed. There are certain parts of your mind, your body, your soul, everything that needs to be healed. And oftentimes we need triggers. And the reason we need these triggers is because it helps us to realize exactly what it is that we are trying to do, within our healing. And, we had a conversation about it for a while, and I was explaining to him that it is going to take time, which it does, because, even if you've been narc free for a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you manage to experience a trigger even after all of that time, that's like that residual energy that sticks around. And that's just basically that part of you that hasn't completely let go of not the narcissist, but the situation itself, the experience which you've gone through, especially people who are dealing with narcissists in family settings. Because all too often, if you're dealing with a narcissist in your family, you might not be able to completely detach in the sense of physically detach from them, because you might have to, you go to family reunions, or you go to functions, or whatever the case may be. They may say or do something that can cause a trigger. It can cause you to react. So you definitely have to just be careful of those things. But a trigger is just pretty much, like I said, a lot of us have gone through it. A lot of us are still experiencing triggers. And the best thing you can do if you are experiencing a trigger is to ride it out. You have to ride through it. Okay. A trigger is just, and that in a way, it's kind of like a form of suppression, I should say, where it's a part of you that suppressing certain things. And whatever the situation is, it's bringing that back out, but it's happening for a reason. You need triggers because you gotta clear that stuff out, so that way you can make room for the new stuff that's going to be going on in your life. And I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I was watching a show on Netflix, and it's called Dirty John. I don't know if you've heard of it. This was the second season. It's called Dirty John, and then it says it's Betty, and it's Manda. What was the name of the person? The full name of the person in the show. It's based on real events, guys. It's based on a woman who's currently at this moment in prison for murdering her ex-husband and his wife. Okay, but yeah, so Madison, you've heard of it, right? She's currently on, well, not death row, but she is currently serving life in prison for murdering her ex-husband and his wife. And just a long story short, it's pretty much a story about a woman who was completely, like, if you've seen this show, this one in particular, they have another one. It's called Dirty John, and that was like the first season. Watch that one too. But this one in particular, if you've seen this show, you could see and feel the Betty Broderick. Betty Broderick. So guys, look her up. You can look her up on Google. She's a real person. She exists. This show was based on the real life events between her and her late ex-husband. But if you watch the show, you could see just the pure and utter manipulation that was going on. You know, it started off where they were young, in love. They were, you know, kids in high school, going to college. And he, you know, he basically he was in love with her. Everybody knows the whole honeymoon phase, right? She fell in love with him, and she would have followed him to the ends of the earth. Okay. They had kids. You know, he was going to be a doctor. He went from being a doctor to becoming a lawyer. And she supported him throughout his life. She supported his dreams. Whatever he wanted to do, she was there by his side. And, you know, it seemed all too good to be true. You know, they had a bunch of kids. They bought a house. Very happy. He became a lawyer. She, you know, she had become accustomed to that kind of lifestyle. If you know how lawyers make a lot of money. You know, they make a lot of money. And she was accustomed to the lifestyle, but she was a wife to him, took care of his kids, did everything, you know, that she was supposed to do. Over time, what happened? Her husband, you know, caught the wandering eye, and he ended up falling for his secretary. But instead of just, you know, like any sane person should do, instead of just kind of ending one thing and then starting something else, he basically, throughout the whole entire time while he was messing around with his secretary, he was gaslighting her. So, you know, he was basically like, which if you're familiar with the situation, guys, you've been in a relationship and you're asking questions and they're telling you, oh, I would never do that to you. I don't understand how you could think that way. I don't understand how you know, you're comparing me to this and that and this and that, and your insecurities, and your mind is just running wild with all kinds of, you know, the whole gaslighting bit. That's exactly what he was doing. All the while, he was sleeping with his secretary. He was spending time with his secretary. He was doing all of this. So he was convincing her. And the way he was convincing her, it was so convincing that she's like, maybe I am going crazy. Maybe I am making things up. Maybe I am imagining things. And all she really wanted to do was try to work on things, make things happen. Well, it got to the point where, you know, he couldn't hold the mask up any longer. And it went from a loving family dynamic, husband and wife, to this man totally destroyed her life. He totally destroyed her life. Like he was a well-known lawyer. So he knew the law in and out. He knew how to get around certain things. He knew how to manipulate certain people. He knew how to charm certain people. So he was doing that in the court, which a lot of you who are dealing with narcs, especially if you're doing co-parenting or if you're going through a divorce, whatever the case may be, a lot of narcissists know how to charm people, even within the court system, you know. And him being a lawyer who knew other top-notch lawyers who, you know, knew the judge, and they're just sitting there talking about, you know, all kinds of stuff outside of the courtroom. It just really was, she unfortunately was set up to fail. She was completely set up to fail. And she, in the interim of it, because of all the gaslighting and because of all of the deflection and all of the manipulation, she lost her mind in a way. A lot of victims do that. A lot of victims just kind of, they lose it. And she was so heavily manipulated, she was becoming reactive, you know. This man already, he moved out of the house. He went with his secretary, took the kids from her, took everything from her, okay? There were times where they were supposed to go to court for, you know, for mediation, and they never informed her. He never informed her of, you know, her having to appear in court. So it looked like she just didn't show up to court on her own, like she did not care, you know. So a lot of things he was supposed to be responsible for in making sure that this was all mediated, he just pretty much manipulated the whole thing. And he ended up gaining sole custody of the kids during all of that time while he's with his new piece, his new supply, his new fiance, what have you. She's just completely, she's lost. She's just completely. But the problem was, and here's what I noticed in the show, he was breadcrumbing her. So every so often he would come and see her. He would still sleep with her, even though he was with the new female. He would still come sleep with her. He would still come spend time with her. He would give her impressions, but that's what he was doing because he wanted to entangle her even more. He wanted to get her guards down even more, to get her more deeper and deeper into it. And throughout it all, she lost her home. She lost, whatever money. It actually turned out, after the whole divorce was over, she ended up owing him money. She ended up having to pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, the show is so crazy, guys. You got to watch it. It's called Dirty John. It's on Netflix. Dirty John Betty. Watch the show and you'll understand. Like, I know a lot of you have gone through it. I know a lot of you are still going through the motions, but these types of people do exist. But she ended up snapping. She really did. And even though it's not justified, because we don't justify murder or anything like that, a lot of people understood what she was dealing with. And you had different psychiatrists, you had relationship experts, you had therapists, all kinds of people who took the stand, to where the first trial, it was a hung jury. They could not even, decide whether she was innocent or guilty. So she had to get retried just to confirm. The state's thing was to confirm if it was with intention, if her murdering them was with intention. But definitely watch the show, guys, because that, I think, it would really, really open a lot of people's eyes to seeing what type of people people like this do exist. People like this are real. And just as long as you are for sure, you're not going to get triggered, okay? Because it's a very triggering show. It really is a triggering show. So use your discretion if you're going to watch the show, but it's definitely worth watching. Yeah, Kiana, it's crazy. It's crazy how that show just really, like, opened. I opened my eyes even more to, like, damn, like, people can really be that snake, like that snaky, and that they can charm the pants off of people and make people think that the victim is actually the crazy one. And all the victim is doing is the victim is reacting because of that heavy manipulation. It's kind of like saying, you told me you loved me. You told me we were going to work things out. You told me all of these things. And now you're moving in with someone else and you're living, you're marrying someone else. What the hell is going on? So she became so reactive, and everything was just pretty much, she was at a bottomless pit. She got to a bottomless pit, and she's just like, something, this is my, what more do I have? I don't have anything. She lost her kids, she lost her finances, she lost her husband, she lost everything. And again, I don't justify murder, but it's understandable. We don't condone it, but we understand it. And so did a lot of other people. A lot of other people understood it. Yes, Marcelo, it was literally, and it's funny, I was just telling a man, that's the epitome of someone destroying your life. Like, they set you up and then they just boom. Everything is just pretty much. And now, not only was her life destroyed in the midst of all of this, but now she's in prison. And this is just pretty much an end result of someone who was treated unfairly, very unfairly in life, very unfairly by the justice system. And now, she's in prison for committing a murder, well, a double murder. It's sad. It's really sad. I thank God a lot of us haven't resorted to that. And I thank God a lot of you are just more focused on just trying to gain your healing and just move on from the situation. Because that's one thing that a lot of narcissists don't understand. Victims can snap. They can reach their breaking point and they can snap. And when you have someone who is constantly selfish, constantly, arrogant, constantly just manipulative, and really trying to put you out there to everyone else that, you're the crazy one, you're the one who's delusional, you're the one who's just, you can't get over things, and you can't get over the fact that at some point people will snap. They will. Luckily, a lot of us are very strong, and we just, we focus on just doing what we got to do for ourselves and moving on with our lives. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody's going to they're not going to take this sitting down. They're going to get up and say, well, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go down, but I'm going to take you with me. And that's one thing that narcissists don't understand. They don't understand. And when they come across someone who may not be a narcissist, but when they come across someone who is just not putting up with that, something serious can happen to these people. They don't understand that. They don't understand that. Well, they don't stop to say, let me think about what I'm doing, because this person has the potential to really do something severely harmful to me. They don't think about that. They're too busy thinking about themselves. They're too busy thinking about what they can get and their own selfish gain. That's what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about the consequences. They're not thinking about the possibilities that they just turn someone into a victim, and that victim is completely distraught and destroyed, and now they seek vengeance. They don't think about these things, and they think that what applies to one person is going to apply to the next and the next and the next. Like they could just run a whole train on different people, thinking that they can get away with stuff like that. They were lucky with us. They were lucky with you guys. They were lucky with a lot of different survivors and victims who just managed to try to get on with their lives. But what's to say they're going to completely be lucky throughout their lives? You got people out there in the world who are at their breaking points, and if they stumble upon someone who's a very humble person, very caring, loving person, and just wants to have a form of normality in their life, and they screw them over really bad, that person just might, you never know. You never know. Definitely is, Marcelo. Yes, narcissists know how to navigate and manipulate all kinds of systems. Courts, social services, insurances, even the health system. They're charmers. They know how to charm people. Epstein, I believe Epstein was classified as an extreme narcissist. He was extremely narcissistic, and he managed to, like, throughout the course of his life, he managed to lie to people covertly, lie to people and convince them. Like they're very smooth. They're very smooth talkers. They can talk their way out of anything. They can talk their way, if they really put their minds to it, they can talk their way out of anything. Okay? A lot of them know how to work the justice system. A lot of them know how to work, people in general. A lot of them know how to work a lot of different people. And the crazy thing about it is that we as victims, we as survivors, try proving that in a court. When it's all emotional and it's psychological abuse, you can't prove that. You can't prove any of it. You can't prove that this person was verbally abusive to you unless you have it written down. And some of them are too smart to actually, like in this show, Christian Slater played the husband. In this show, him being a smart lawyer, okay, being an attorney, a lot of them are very smart. He knows better. He knew better. So what did he do? The way he would speak, when he would speak about or to her, it was very condescending. The way he would have everything recorded, it would sound like she was crazy, but he was the more logical one. He was the more sensible one. He was the more, trying to be understanding. And she's losing her damn mind. She's just losing her damn mind. You took my kids, you're taking the finances, you did all of this, you just left me for dead, all to be with someone else. And he's just cool, calm, and I don't know what her problem is. I mean, I told her I didn't want to be with her anymore. I don't understand why she's acting this way. He knew why. Because he set that whole thing up. Narcissists set it all up for you guys. When it boils down to the discard was pre-planned. It was planned, guys. Okay? The discard was planned. It was pretty much constructed. And this is how I'm going to do this. This is who I'm going to involve. This is what I'm going to say. If she asked me or if he asked me, this is what I'm going to respond with. Because they already know what you're going to ask. They know what you're going to ask, what you're going to do. Unless you are one who manages to surprise them in the end even though they're the ones who discarded you. If you manage to do that, that kind of keeps them on their toes to the point where they're like, wait a minute. Okay, wait, she or he completely took a left turn. I was not expecting that. But prior to the discard, they already know. They know what they're going to tell you. They know what they're going to gaslight you with because they know what you're going to say to them. They know what you're going to ask them. They know the questions you're going to ask them. If your narcissist is discarding you, what's the first question you're going to ask them? Oh, is this someone else? There's someone else. No, what are you talking about? Why does it have to be someone else? Why? You already you understand? That's that gaslighting bullshit. What are you talking about? You don't know. See, this is your insecurities talking. You see, this is why we can't be together. You see, because you're constantly insecure. Well, because you're showing me certain things, and what you're showing me and what you're telling me are two different things. So I'm trying to understand what exactly is going on. Well, can't you see what's going on? I need space. That's another key thing, guys. They need space. They need space. They need you at an arm's length. They need you over here while they're over here. And the reason being, they're trying to see if what's over here is worth locking in and discarding you. This is why they don't give you closure. This is why they don't give you clarity. This is why they tell you, listen, let's just take a break. Let's take a break. Let's relax, calm down, back off. And mind you, even though, like I said, everybody takes accountability for what they do in their relationships. But if at the end of the day, what you have been contributing, what you have been doing, that you've been taking the verbal abuse, taking the insults, taking the covert abuse, taking everything. It's like that post I put up, guys. They continue until they can't punch you anymore. And they see that you're still there. So it's like, damn, I did all of this. I continued, and you're still here. And it's to the point that it's like, all right, well, I ain't got nothing more to do. I can't beat you anymore. I can't punch you anymore. I can't insult you. I can't hurt you any more than I already have. You're no fun. Let me try over here. That's because you were no more fun for them. You're no more of a challenge in a sense. They just pretty much, so what do? They just pretty much leave an open end. They leave an open end. So after everything is said and done, they tell you, look, maybe we should just be friends for now. Maybe we should just be friends for now, or maybe we just need to take a break, And mind you, when they were with you, they were in love with you, right? How do you go from being completely in love with someone to let's just be friends? How do you go from them, constantly like their face lit up when they saw you, everything that they were showing in your presence, everything, to we need to take a break? It's because everything that they've done in your relationship, everything that they've managed that led to this point, it didn't push you away to that point to where you're going to discard them. You stayed. They just got pretty much, it just was no more fun for them. Being who they were, it was just no more fun, because it's like, all right, I've done everything I possibly could to tear you down, and here you are still. It's no more fun. It's not fun anymore. It's boring. All right, gotta try something else. And like I said, guys, it goes both ways. They may have had an idea in their mind that you have seen through certain things, and there's a possibility that you're going to discard them, that you're going to leave them. You're going to break things off with them. What gives them this idea? The fact that you're trying to communicate how you're not being fulfilled the way you anticipated, the way you had hoped you would be, the way it's kind of like you sat them down and said, look, I want to talk to you. Let's have a discussion. Okay? We haven't been emotionally connecting. This is going on. That seems like that. We haven't been doing the things that we've done before. What's the problem? You could say something as simple as that, and they will take it and run with it. They'll take it and run with it. Oh, well, I'm not adequate for you. Oh, so I'm not man enough, or I'm not woman enough for you anymore, or you're not, and they run with these things in their mind, and already, boom, they have the impression, this person's gonna leave me. They're going to abandon me. So before you abandon me, I'm gonna abandon you. I'm gonna leave you. I'm going to discard you. I'm gonna hurt you. And that takes you for a loop. Because you went from just, being in love, loving one another, to sitting down, thinking that you guys were communicating and you may have gotten through to the person, to them becoming emotionally distant, which they've already been throughout your entire relationship. They become distant. They become cold. They become less attentive. They become very callous, extremely callous. Like, you've seen them in their attitudes, you've seen them in their ways, and you really didn't pay too much mind. But now it's worse. It's like, okay, wait a minute, where the hell did all of this come from? That's the beginning of a discard. That's the beginning of, the different things that they never showed you. I'm not going to say that they never did, because they've done a lot of things that you probably don't know about. But the different things that were not presented in your face, that you did not notice, it becomes noticeable during the discard. All of that becomes noticeable. And of course, if you try to speak on it, that's when they're going to run the whole gaslighting bit of, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, this is why we're not going to be together, because you're insecure, you constantly thinking X, Y, and Z, you're thinking all of these things. Meantime, in your relationship, they were completely paranoid. They were completely paranoid. They thought you were screwing everybody around town. They thought that you were lying to them about your whereabouts. They thought that you were sneaking in text messages with other people and doing blah, 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 or whatever. I can't tell you how many times I have a habit of taking my phone to the bathroom. I always take my phone to the bathroom. I'm playing my games. I always play my games, or I'm playing YouTube videos. Yes, I said it. But there were times that I had to, literally, I would take my phone to the bathroom with me. And if I had to use the bathroom, if I was playing like Candy Crush, I had to put my volume up on super loud so he could hear that I was playing my games. So he wouldn't think that I'm talking to other people. Because that was the first thing. Oh, you're taking the phone to the bathroom with you. Yeah, I play my games. And I had to put up the volume on that. Or if I'm, sometimes I take a shower, I'll play music, or I'll play shows on my phone. I have to put it super loud so he can see that that's the reason why I'm taking my phone to the bathroom. However, there is a however. If they took their phone to the bathroom, you couldn't question them on that. You couldn't say anything about it. Because if you did, what happens? So what's the problem? What you think I'm doing X, Y, and Z? What, you think I'm talking to somebody else? What? They try to throw you off. They try to make you seem like you're insecure so they can shut you up and throw you off. In the meantime, you don't know what the hell they're doing with that phone in the bathroom. Simple as that. Kiana, my ex used to call me a whore, accusing me of cheating, aka telling on himself. It felt like when I brought his accusations, his doings into existence. Yeah. And I mean, and some of them won't say like, flat out, oh, you're a whore, you're this, you're that, or whatever. But they'll give you like indications, like a lot of their actions, a lot of what they say and do, even though they speak around it, it's very indicative to what they're trying to tell you. And it's kind of like, what is the problem? There's always a problem. There's always something else. What is the problem? What is it now? What is it now? What is it now? Like, that's why you find yourself constantly saying, what is it now? And you are so pushed to the point that you're like, what did I do now? And they look at you like, I don't know, what did you do, Kiana? Something you want to tell me? That's not reverse psychology bullshit. And you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't say anything wrong. But because they're inherently miserable people, they want to drag you down. They just want to sit in their misery or sit in their paranoia, and they want to take you with them. How many of you start a relationship with someone, and even though you've been hurt before, guys, you've been hurt, you've been lied to, you've been cheated on, You've been all of these things, right? And yet you decide to give love another chance. And you decide that you're not going to bring in what happened in your last relationship into your new one. Okay? You're going to start fresh. You're going to start new. This is a totally new person. They don't even know the person of your past. And you went full force in. You went in, hey, I'm getting to know you. I'm not, I am slightly guarded, but that's natural. It's everyone. Everyone gets like that. And over time, you have no reasons to question things. You have no reasons to be insecure about things. You think this person is fully into you. This person adores you. They're giving you attention. They're doing all these things that people do in the beginning. And yet they find their actions with merit. They find their actions with reason. Like, they have their own issues. If you're dealing with a narc, trust me, you're dealing with someone with extreme trust issues. And they have been programmed to believe that everybody else in the world is out to get them. Everybody else in the world is, depending on the kind of narc you're dealing with, everybody else in the world is jealous of them. Everybody else wants what they have. Everybody else wishes they can be like them. Okay? And you are dealing with someone who's projecting onto you all of the bull crap that they have had before they even met you, all of the bull crap that they have given to other people before they even met you. You're dealing with someone who's projecting all of these feelings, all of these thoughts onto you, and slowly but surely pushing you into that corner to the point where you're flipping around and saying, oh crap. You're so blindsided by things. You're like, oh crap, you know what? I'm noticing certain things. Like, they're pushing that paranoia on you. And they're pushing it on you because they're trying to break you down. They're trying to break you down in the interim of your relationship. They're trying to basically mold you, but in order to remold you, they have to break who you are first. They have to break you down first and then remold you. And they're remolding you to be the person that they want. They did not accept you in the beginning. They did not accept who you are and love you for you and just wanted to be with you because you are a loving, caring person. They saw you, they felt you, they studied you, and they saw what they wanted from you. And in order to extract that from you, the first thing they had to do was try to remold you. That's why when you leave relationships with these types of people, you don't feel like the same person. Hell, we'll go back. You don't feel like the same person while you're in the relationship. You feel like a completely different person. The things you never would have put up with, you find yourself putting up with these things. And when all is said and done and you leave, or if you've been discarded, you sit there and say to yourself, how the hell did I let this happen? How did I allow this to happen to me? How did I let this person manipulate me? How did I let this person break me? Because that's how you feel when you leave that type of dynamic. You feel broken. You feel so broken, and you don't know which way to go, how to respond. It's that cognitive dissonance. It's just like, it literally leaves you like you feel like an asylum patient. You feel like a patient who belongs in an asylum because you don't know reality. Reality is so far from you. You went in knowing reality, or at least you thought you did, but in the end, it's so far from you. You don't know which way to go, what to do, how to feel. You don't know anything. And slowly but surely, after everything's said and done, you're the one responsible to pick yourself up. So they do all of this to you. They tear you down. They break you apart. They break your spirit. They do all of this. And then what happens? They're on with their new supplier, doing their own thing or whatever, or just, living it up the way God intended for them. Okay, because we know how them spiritual narcs go too. They walk around thinking, oh yeah, God got my back. God got my back and God's with me and I'm all holy and I'm spiritual and I'm this and I'm that. Well, demons are spirits too. So totally another story. But you're sitting there now you have to pick up your own pieces. Now you have to figure out, how do I even start? You don't even know where to start. You don't know where to start. You don't know how to, you feel numb. You don't know, it's so confusing. And I had someone who messaged me who said the same thing. I don't even want love. Like, I don't want love. I don't want a connection. I don't want to feel anything. And all too often, victims of narc abuse deprive themselves, because even after the healing, even after the stages, even after going through everything and just clearing all of that out, you become so numb, you don't want to deal with anybody, because it's just that fear. It's like, yo, I can't trust anybody. The one person I thought I could trust turned out to be someone that I couldn't. He just broke me down, and you built yourself up so high after everything. It's like you don't want anybody tampering with that. You don't want nobody touching that. You're like, nope, just stay the hell away from me. I worked really hard on myself, and I don't want any part of it. And it's normal to feel that way in the beginning, guys. It really is. But don't deprive yourself. Please don't deprive yourself. At some point, when you feel ready, of course, you know you're deserving of love. You know you deserve that. You deserve so much more than what these assholes gave you. It's going to take time, but just keep an open mind. Keep your boundaries up, but keep an open mind, because not everybody's the same. Okay? Not everyone is the same. Hi, Green. Yes, Marcelo, absolutely. Absolutely. Their God is the devil. Because these people, God doesn't walk with arrogance. God does not like haughtiness. He doesn't like prideful people, stubborn people. Okay? He does not, he loathes the kind of people who are rebellious. He loathes rebellious people, and he will show them. This is why they say, humble yourself before God does. Humble yourself before God does. Because if you don't, he's going to show you why he is God. Okay? He's going to show you why he is God. These people walk with such a chip over their shoulder. And that chip is that demon. That's what that chip is. And that demon is feeding into their head. They're feeding it to them. Yeah, you can get over on this person. You can get a bunch of women. You can get a bunch of guys to buy you, to take care of you, to pay for this, to do that. That's just all this in the ear. And then what happens? What happens? Let's say the narcissist goes through their life going through different victims. Okay. You may go through their life going through different victims, but these victims eventually, because, God takes care of his children. He does take care of his children. These victims eventually change themselves, rebuild themselves, become stronger, become wiser. Okay? They're still the same here, but they become stronger and wiser, and they can get into relationships and have emotional stability, have love, be happy, have peace. You are still going to be the miserable fucking tarantula that you are. Okay? Creeping around town on 8 legs, just looking horrible. And as they get older, much older, especially when they don't get help, they're going to sit there pretty much just aging, constantly going through different people. And if their manipulation works when they get to a very, a much older age. But they end up miserable. They end up bitter. They end up, because one, the bitter part, I can understand if they're alone or if they're dealing with supply that they really don't want to deal with. Because you do have narcs who settle for supply. They're like, well, F it, mediocre supply is better than no supply at all, especially when they get older. A lot of the time, they'll try to go back to exes. So like when they reach a certain age and they see that that shit ain't working on other people like you thought it would, they would try to find a way to hoover in, exes. They'll try to find a way to hoover people back in. And if they're not settling for the supply that they really didn't put as first choice, they end up alone. Because ain't nobody going to be dealing with that. Now, nobody's going to be dealing with that. People who are genuine will not be dealing with that. People who are, kind-hearted, they won't. Maybe other narcissists, maybe them, because if they're affiliated with the narc. But so here you are living your life, being happy, being with who you want to be with, enjoying life, enjoying your peace, your sanity. And there they are, still at 65, still manipulating people, still sitting there trying to get a Gucci bag off of somebody, still trying to get that, that vacation in, in fucking Europe, and then you gotta a little something just to do it. Come on. It's like, grow up already. Seriously, guys. Exclusive. Oh my God, is it just me, or do they have some type of tie to us? Because how do they know what we're feeling or hearing, even if we're not in contact or physically together? Well, I've explained this before. Cicely, I'll answer your question in a second, honey. I've explained this before. You do create soul ties with people. We all do. We create soul ties with everyone. We have connections with everyone. And when you are strongly connected with someone, on a very energetic level, on a spiritual level, you're connected, you're intertwined with someone. They can, they can feel certain things. They can feel, if you're thinking about them, you probably could feel that they're thinking about you. They can pass on energy to you. You pass on energy to them. Okay. I mean, we're made of energy. We are made of energy. And when our energy comes in contact with someone else's energy, it intertwines with it. Okay. It intertwines with it. And I mean, people call it energy cords, people call it soul ties, whichever way you want to call it. You are creating a tie, a bond with that person. And if you are, especially at, post discard, you are constantly thinking about the person. You're constantly, you're even borderline obsessed. And they know this. They know this already. Okay. When a narcissist sees that, because remember, they watch you too. Even though you're not in the same room with them, you're not in the same area with them, they do watch you. They watch your moves. They watch where you go. They watch your social media. They watch different things about you. It's not too hard to put two and two together, especially if you are one who, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you're one who puts up posts and stuff, especially if your social media is not private, okay, or if you have mutual friends, which I strongly advise that you don't have mutual friends with this person or these people, because it's not going to be very helpful to your healing. But they manage to find out different things. They manage to find out you have narcissists that go as far as putting tracking devices on people, whether it be on their phone, hacking into their stuff, hacking into their accounts, doing whatever. They will always find a way to monitor you, to watch what it is that you're doing. And if you've ever bumped into them, or if you bump into them in places where that they don't frequent, they don't often go there, they have no business really being there. But if you happen to bump into them, like, what the hell are you doing here? Whatever, that was not coincidence, guys. That was not coincidence. Okay. They, if they got cars, trust and believe, they will be parked outside your house, maybe a block up, sitting behind I don't know if they have, tinted windows. I don't know, but they might do that. They might watch you from a distance. So if you're crossing the street somewhere, whatever, they may be parked where they got a good view of you. But again, they monitor the different things that you do. So even though you have that impression, like, oh, that person's over me, that person is just moved on with their life, they're it's not to say that they're over you, they're just not over the idea of losing control over you. And if they feel that there's a possibility that they can maybe figure out a way to sneak back in, creep back in, slither back in, they monitor you for these reasons. Okay. Often a lot of victims wonder these things too. Well, are they watching me? More than likely, yes, but it's not to, Victims sometimes want to know because they want to feel validated, okay? But that's not the case. It's not the matter of feeling validated. It's the matter of they're monitoring you, they're watching you, because when push comes to shove, they need to figure out a way to get back in your good graces. They need to figure out a way to get back in there. But you are connected with so many different people. And at the end of the day, you can feel when someone is passing on their energy to you, just like they can feel it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But when it boils down to them, a lot of the time it's because they are watching you. They're watching you. They're watching your activity. They're watching the things you do. They're watching maybe the places you go, or they have people watching you. So if it's not them, they have their little flying monkeys. Cicely had asked the question, hey Erica, how far ahead do they usually plan the actual discard? That depends. That really depends. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're dealing with someone who, a type of narc that is usually gets bored very easily, I mean, it could be, it could be as early as a couple of months or a couple of weeks prior to the discard. It really depends. It depends on the dynamic too, because you have people who are currently in relationships with narcissists, been with them for freaking 20, 30 years. They've been with them in a relationship 20, 30 years. So it's my way of saying is like narcs kind of have like ADD. It's like, oh, I'm playing with my precious. That you're their shiny toy. You're their shiny new toy. But if something else comes that grasps their attention, or they just catches their eye, and their wandering eye becomes a little bit more curious than what we would deem normal, that can happen as soon as the new supply caught their eye, and they've already configured, I want to touch that, I want to play with that, I want to do stuff with that. So now I have to figure out how I can get that while keeping you at a distance. Or it could be as soon as your argument where you're not giving in, you're not feeding into their whining behaviors, and they're just fucking childish, petty bullshit. And it's like, okay, all right, I can see you're gonna be a little difficult, so let me see. It really depends on them. It really would depend on them, or the discard can happen right then and there. But either way, they know what they're going to do, and because of the fact that they've already done it with other people before you, they already know how to answer your questions. They already know how to maneuver around, and they know how to gaslight. That's what I tell you guys. Chances are you're not the first person. You're not the first. And you probably won't be the last. But they can be the last who's inflicted that kind of pain onto you. Works totally different when it's working in your favor. Marcelo, my theory is that the narcs suck the highest amount of energy from us after no contact. From far away, they suck us dry. They know it. They even do psychic attacks this way. Yeah, I mean, and because they already know. Listen, if you're dealing with a narc, chances are they dealt with a discard in their life. Okay? One, they've been rejected emotionally and mentally by their parents. So that is enough alone as a form of mental and emotional discard. They've been consistently rejected by the narcissist parents or parents if they're both narcs. But they know the feeling of being discarded, because I'm pretty sure that you've dealt with someone who has been discarded by someone else. You dealt with someone who has gone through the motions of being discarded. And I'm not talking about a narcissistic discard. I'm just talking about a You want some bullshit, get the hell out of my face. Leave me alone. Just don't bother me, because you are really just on some real straight up whack shit. You know, you're just you are too much, and I can't deal with someone like you. Okay? This was clearly someone who was seeing through their bullshit and decided to let them go before they had a chance to let the other person go. So chances are you dealt with someone who's already dealt with a discard. And because, much like anybody, they don't like the way that feels. They don't like how that form of rejection, that form of injury feels. They do not like it. This makes them 10 times more equipped and possibly, like, you know, ready to discard you at any given time if you should either piss them off, if you should address their bullshit, if you should address any kind of nonsense that they're portraying, that they're displaying. If you should do any of those things, they're more equipped to just right then and there, or given some time where you're starting to see through the cracks, but you're really not addressing anything per se, because that's what makes their discard more effective, guys. When you are dealing with someone who is clearly utilizing manipulation, but you're not seeing it. So it's like they're looking at you like, yeah, I'm gaslighting you, I'm clearly lying to you, but you're still falling for this shit. And that's why it drags out a little longer, and that's why it gives them ample time to find new supply to replace you. It makes it more effective. If a discard is instant, if it's instantaneous, and it's like, you know, we're done and that's it and blah blah blah, whatever. But what makes a discard worse is when it's dragged along. When the discard, let's say they decided to, in July, they decided that they're going to discard you, but the actual discard didn't happen until December. It's all that time. And when it hit you in December, it hit you like a ton of bricks, because you thought that you were working on things. You thought that, you know, you guys were maybe possibly communicating better and things were getting a little better. And it's when you least expect it. And it's because all that time to ensure that their supply is not tampered with, they're going to appease you, or while simultaneously gaslighting you. They'll appease you, and once they have everything set in motion, December comes, boom, and it just happens to be around Christmas too. Go figure, right? December comes, discard hits, mask falls off, they don't even care anymore, because they already got someone else. So when people ask, well, why work so hard to wear the mask if that's what you're going to do? Well, you know, you have to wear the mask in a narc's mind. You have to wear the mask because I still need to get my supply from somewhere, even though I'm trying to lock this in from somewhere else. So I still need you to cooperate with me, even though I'm trying to get this over here. But since this over here is not secure, I gotta spoon feed you. I gotta breadcrumb you. I gotta, okay, I'll throw you a couple I love yous here and there, and yeah, let's, we'll have a romantic dinner or whatever. They were appeasing you. That's what they were doing. And that's what makes it more sad. That's what makes it more hurtful. That's what makes it more like you, in the end, you feel like, shit, I wasn't even worth the truth. I wasn't worth any of this. And not only was I not worth any of this, but you took it upon yourself to just pretty much like trash me. What kind of shit is that? Because these people have no sense of morals and they have no sense of principle. They don't care. I wish I could explain it in a more decent way, but they simply do not care. And at that point in time, during the discard, they are not thinking about you. They're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about your feelings. They're not thinking about anything. They're thinking about themselves. They've always been thinking about themselves, but every so often they have to pull their mind away from themselves because they have to figure out what they're going to do next to convince you in the midst of your relationship. And it's really sad, guys, that people like this exist, but they do. I just want to make sure I got this in right. Hold on one second. I wish I could give better. Stella, Erica, once I stepped back, I could see his insane moods, the walking on eggshells, the blow-ups in the car. I couldn't even wash the fork. And it's, you know what, over time, like if you notice the moodiness, the changes in the moods and everything, and the like the fights back and forth, but it wasn't, you thought it was a couple squabbles, right? That's what you thought it was. You thought it was just, oh yeah, we have we're like any other couple. We have our problems, we have our issues, we go through our things, and the reason that is because he conditions you to be that way. He conditions you to believe that, oh, it's a little spat. And the reason you believe that it was just a little spat was because the next day he's bringing you food from your favorite restaurants, giving you a kiss on your forehead, saying, babe, I brought this for you. All for him to go the following day and start some shit with you again. To come back the day after that and bring you my thing was iced coffee. Bring you your favorite iced coffee. You understand? That's conditioning. That's like, every time I'm mad, every time I'm pissed off, every time I have a mood, every time I want to take something out on you, every time I want to just throw the whole dynamic over and make the whole thing negative, I'm going to make it your fault. You're the reason why I'm acting this way. And then the next day or the next couple of days, I'm going to come back like nothing happened. And I'm going to act like you're the world's greatest girlfriend or the world's greatest boyfriend. I'm going to come back and act like everything is all good between us. And I love you and everything. And then boom, a couple of days later, it's going to be the same bullshit. And then a couple of days after that, it's going to be the lovey-dovey, I love you. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's take let's take a weekend together, or let's go have dinner, or let's do this. That's conditioning you. That's conditioning you to believe that whenever he acted like an asshole, whenever he was in a mood, or whenever he was acting real stupid with you, it was because you are the reason why. And whenever he was real sweet with you and real lovey-dovey, and it's because why? Because you did something that fulfilled his ego. You did something that made him feel satisfied, whatever that was. So you notice how when you would do something and it catered to him or her, guys. I'm speaking directly to Stella, but it could be you guys as well. But you did something that catered to them, that catered to their ego, that made them feel some kind of way, made them feel good, or whatever the case may be. You just pretty much gave. You gave and gave and gave. They're clearly going to show you that they're satisfied. Therefore, you deserve the gold star. You deserve the kiss on the forehead. You deserve your favorite iced coffee from your favorite frappuccino from your favorite shop. And if or when they either had a shitty mood or they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing, and yet it's getting to them because the idea of you doing it, even though you're not doing anything, the idea of you doing it will throw them off. It's like, well, you got to deal with the paranoia. You got to deal with the nasty attitude. You got to deal with all kinds of nonsense. Thanks, Manda. You got to deal with all kinds of nonsense. And it's like, so you sit there and say to yourself, I'm sorry. Yes, Marie. Jean Marie? Intermittent reinforcement. I learned that in my psychology book too. It's pretty much conditioning you to work with them, so it all lands in their favor. So when things go negative, it's your fault. When things go positive, it's because they deserved it. Okay, that's what that is. And because all this time you were conditioned, you were being conditioned. You're sitting there walking on eggshells now. Okay, so he is a great person. She's a great person when they're in a good mood and they're giving me hugs and kisses and they're giving me flowers and they're giving me cake and candy and all that good stuff. Let's keep this person in a good mood. So now you're conditioned to believe that the things that you do that are not satisfactory to them are going to push them off edge and push them. It's going to tip the boat. So you walk on eggshells to keep them happy. And when they're happy, you're happy. When you're happy, if it does something for them, they're happy. If it's not contributing to them, they don't give a shit. And if you're hurt, if you're unhappy, if you're in pain, then you are simply toxic and you are simply trying to just kill their vibe. Does any of that sound familiar, guys? Have any of you guys been through it? Can any of you resonate with that? And now it's all making sense for you because this is exactly what's going on during the time that you were dealing with these people. Green, for a while I thought I was the narcissist. She sucked all the energy of life out of me. I lost sense of who I was or what I wanted. You know what? And they managed to do that. They managed to flip it around and say, oh, I don't feel like myself. I feel like, because, the constant arguments, the constant arguments are really due to the fact that you're not feeding their ego. You're not feeding into what they want. You're not giving them that, it's like, do as I say, not as I do. So since you're not trying to play along with that, it's getting them mad. It's making them frustrated. And that's what's causing the bickering and the arguments and everything. But they flip it around. They flip it around and they call you toxic. And they say, well, you're the one who's creating problems. You're the one who can't go with the flow. You're not going according to what the script says. You're not playing along. You're not playing your role. So because you're not playing your role, you're not giving them what they want. You're not playing along with the narrative. You are simply, in a way, being, in your own way, being rebellious towards them. It's a cause for arguments. It's a cause for arguments. I remember one time I asked this person to consider me. That's all I said. I said, look, do you think you can just show me a little bit of consideration? Just a little bit of consideration. And the response I got was, why don't we just get married tomorrow? Where the hell did that come from? That was the response I got. I asked for some consideration. That's it. I didn't say, don't be your friends. I didn't say, oh, you got to do what I want you to do. And we weren't even together. We were on the verge of being together. That was my red flag. My red flags were no consideration. No consideration. But did I stop there? No, I didn't. I didn't stop there. Because I thought to myself, no, this person is not used to, not used to being in a relationship, not used to, they maybe got to get better acquainted with me. Maybe they got to get to know me better. So who am I to tell them? That was my response to myself. Who am I to tell this person? Because we don't have a title. We're not boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not any of these things. So who am I to ask for consideration? Who am I to say, be considerate of me? Just show me a little bit of consideration. And that response that he gave me was pretty much synonymous to, you're not my girlfriend. So why should I be considerate to you? And even if you were my girlfriend, why would I be considerate? You understand? These were the little red flags. I started seeing red flags, but young, dumb, and in love, you know what I'm saying? I started seeing certain red flags and I didn't stop myself. I didn't stop it right then and there. I just kept saying to myself, because we have this thing, guys, we think that if we get into a relationship with people who show, in a way, they're emotionally detached, who show certain behaviors that we're not too accustomed to, or that we're like, it seems kind of off, but you really like the person. So you think to yourself maybe if they spend more time with me, and maybe when they get to know me better, and it's kind of like, I'm not saying we want to change them, but we want to get them better acquainted with how we live our lives and who we are as people, so they can understand that we need to meet halfway. So you pretty much sat there thinking they were going to compromise with you. You thought that there was going to be compromise, and there was going to be consideration, and there was going to be love and loyalty and respect and decency and honesty and fairness. You thought all of these things. And the reality is, it was a total opposite. When people show you in the very beginning, guys, and that's anyone, when they show you in the beginning lack of consideration, when they show you emotional detachment, when they show you complete and full guardedness, there's a difference between being at a regular state of being guarded, but being extremely guarded. I would honestly, in my opinion, I can't tell you guys what to do. I would turn the fuck away. Truthfully, I would turn away, because the lack of consideration is enough for me. You can't consider me now, and I'm not even in a relationship with you. You can't consider me now. I can only imagine if we were together. These are the things that I had to learn over time. I didn't know these things back then, before I started learning the things that I've learned. When they start showing you different types of, just it's kind of like they're single but you're not. So if you're dating someone, and I'm not saying put all your eggs in one basket, because if they're dating other people, hey, you date other people. Date as many as you want. You're a free agent. But if they are showing you things, especially when it comes to like getting to that point of making things official, or if they tell you, oh, why we got to put a title on things? Why do we got to do this? Why do we got to do? Stay away from them. Stay away from them, because these are people who have no intention on really fully committing to you. They have no intention on committing to your dynamic and being in a serious, structured relationship with you. Okay, a lot of narcissists, what I told you guys before, a lot of them suffer from Peter Pan syndrome. Okay, people who suffer Peter Pan syndrome are not all narcissists, but majority of narcissists suffer Peter Pan syndrome. They don't grow up. Up here, they don't grow up. They do not grow up at all. Thank you, Stella. Yeah, princess. It's people who tell you, I don't care about your feelings, or I don't care about anybody else's feelings. It's not my problem, not my business, whatever the case. It's just the people who are not considerate. I strongly say stay away from them. Just stay away from them. Don't bring yourself around them, because all they're gonna do is drain. They're gonna drain your consideration. They're gonna drain your courtesy. They're gonna drain your contributions. And when they show you that they're not considerate type people, especially if they don't take accountability and apologize for being inconsiderate, you're just going down it's a long hill, a long downwards, because that's exactly where it's going to end. People who have no consideration are the kind of people that you just don't. Yeah, I'm single and you're not is their catchphrase. They're autonomous, they're single, they're allowed to do whatever they want to do, however way they want to do it. You can't say anything about it, because if you do, they come at you calling you insecure, calling you all kinds of stuff or whatever, telling you you're trying to control them, you're trying to control the situation, you're trying to control the relationship, you're trying to, you're trying to basically direct their lives. And it's like, okay, so you have no consideration for me. I call you on it, and I'm still wrong. If that makes sense to you, because it don't make no sense to me. It's give and take. It's I give, you give, I take, you take. That's just the way it is. Like, they don't see it that way. They don't see it that way. And God forbid, if you were to react or say something in reflection to their behaviors, meantime, it's the same type of behaviors that they have pretty much come to you with. Like if the majority of the time it's unintentional, but at the end of the day, let's say you did something and they're like, this is what you do, and they're throwing shit in your face. You apologize. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I'm sorry I made you feel this way. I'm sorry my actions made you feel this way. That's the proper way to apologize to someone. I'm sorry my actions, my doing A, B, and C made you feel this way. That's how you apologize to someone. Their way of apologizing to you, well, I'm sorry you're so insecure that you think that I'm sleeping around or I'm doing X, Y, and Z and I'm talking to this girl, I'm talking to that dude or whatever. You notice the difference between those two apologies? Yeah. Yes. Tyree, I saw red flags myself. I did ignore them, but after years of this, I knew this year it was time to listen to your inner voice. It's screaming, get away. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. At the Narc Abuse, we engage with promiscuous or people who enjoy open relationships only if we want to go through that hell all over again. I don't know. I stayed by myself. I stayed by myself, dude. I stayed alone. And you can even ask, Amanda's been a part of my, in my journey for the past 2 years. I stayed alone. I stayed alone. I did not date anyone. I didn't go out. I did not, no dating, no nothing. Stayed alone. No physical relationships, no emotional relationships, nothing. I stayed to myself. I said, if this is what I went through, a part of that was also the trauma, the severe trauma, psychological trauma, the emotional trauma, the physical. I had like a completely physical disgust. No offense to you men, I love you guys, I do, but I had felt so disgusted that I didn't even want to be around them. Did not want to be around anybody. I was like, nope. that was my reaction. I didn't want to be around anybody. And often victims of narc abuse, yes, they do end up in rebound relationships. So they'll end up in rebound situations, and it doesn't help. That will not help you. Even if it's just for like you get gratification for like a moment, you still have to deal with this. So what's the point? What's the point of it's not a good idea to get under someone else because you're trying to get over someone else. That's not the best way to do things. Okay, it's only gonna make it worse. It's gonna make you feel like shit in the end. And not only that, but if you get someone else involved, you just don't know who you're dealing with or what you would be dealing with. So I just normally tell people, don't deal with anyone. Don't deal with anyone. I know, like, for that split moment, you may have had like a blackout moment, and you're like, well, screw this. I'm just gonna, get under the next person that that comes my way. It's not gonna do anything for you. It's gonna give you a couple of minutes, maybe, of gratification, but that's it. You still got to deal with that trauma. You still got to deal with that mess. And if you go into a rebound situation, not knowing who you're dealing with, now you got to deal with your trauma. You got to deal with the bullshit that the narc put you through. And now you got to deal with possible repercussions with the rebound. It's too much. It's way too much. I strongly advise people stay away from it. Yeah. I stayed to myself. I said, no, I'm good. I can't. Why would I involve someone else? And not only, like I said, I couldn't fathom doing it. I couldn't fathom being with someone. And it wasn't for the sake of, I can't get over my ex. I can't get over him and it's all about him. No, it was about me. It was about why should I have to go to someone else and be sexual or physical or whatever with someone else for my problems? Like, this is my situation. And that was when I learned about my codependency. So that would be heightening my codependency. If I was to go into a rebound situation after that situation happened, and let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just say that I ended up staying in that dynamic with that person that I had to rebound with, or whatever the case may be, that's just heightening my codependency. I would have never gotten over my codependency, because it's codependents have that It's the same thing as narcissists, except we're just on the opposite side of the spectrum. It's kind of like, I can't be alone. It's that fear of being alone. Like I have to have someone, I have to have a warm body next to me. No. I said no. And after dealing with all of that, I was with the same person for almost 3 years and never cheated, never did anything. Being so accustomed to being with the same person, in my bed, in my life, it would have felt weird. It's like, I couldn't do it. But in the end, I'm glad I didn't do it because I had so much more that I had to overcome. And with overcoming my codependency and understanding myself, my traumas, my triggers, everything, I'm to the point that I love sleeping alone in my bed. I don't want nobody else in it. Like, I'm like, nope. Ain't no man stepping foot into my bed. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm straight. I'm autonomous. I'm enjoying my emotional independence. I'm enjoying my physical independence. I'm enjoying my, everything that I worked so hard for. I'm reaping the benefits of it, the blessings, and I'm okay. Imagine if I would have done a rebound. Listen, man. Listen. Yes, Tyree says, if you just got out of this, take a year. Please take 1 year off. You have to heal. Yes, absolutely. I agree. I agree. At least, because you want to have a clear mind. You want to be able to, if you want to have a healthy, sturdy relationship, you don't want to continuously attract the same relationships. You need to heal. You need to work on yourself. You got to go to therapy, do what you do for you, but you have to heal. That's a very important, because if you don't and you lock it up and you continue, if you go on rebounds or if you just continue dating right after your traumatic experience, you're going to keep going through the same things, and you're going to keep ignoring the red flags. You're going to keep dealing with the same people. That's all you're going to end up doing. That's all you're going to end up doing. This happened for a reason, guys. This all happened for you for a reason. I tell Amanda all the time, things happen for a reason. Things don't happen for a reason. It's all part of some kind of plan, whatever your journey. Remember what I said, this is your journey. This journey is for you. It is not for anyone else but you. Okay? Whatever that is, wherever it leads, it is meant for you, right? When I was in my last relationship, I was looking for an apartment, and I was going crazy looking for an apartment all over the place. And this person was trying to help me find an apartment in their building. We were together at the time, and we were, I was setting everything up. Boom. My son's school was right there. Everything was perfect. I was like, oh wow, this would be perfect. I wouldn't have to travel this far. My work is like not even 10 minutes away. Perfect. I did not get the apartment. That didn't happen for a reason. It didn't happen for a reason. And I strongly believe it didn't happen because God already saw what was going to happen afterwards. He saw what was going to happen to me. He saw what I was going to go through. And he knew that if I would have went through my discard and I'm living in the same building as the person, somebody would have gone to jail. I'm sorry. It would have happened that way. And, God is helping us in certain ways because he knows what's going to happen. He knows what's going to happen. And because he knows what's going to happen, he's going to steer you in different directions. And try as you might, you're going to be, no, but I want to go this way. But he's telling you, no, you got to go this way. There's a reason for all of this. I did not get that place. I did not get that apartment in that building because he knew what was going to happen before it did. He saw everything. And as many times as he tried to warn me, because he did, he tried to warn me. I'm not going to sit here and deny that because I saw everything after the fact. At the end of the day, I couldn't do anything but thank him because Lord knows where the situation would be right now if I had been able to get that apartment. You know, I could have either still been in the same relationship, going through the same crap, dealing with the same person, dealing with their trauma and their bullshit and everything that everybody else is putting them through, and they took it out on me because I was their emotional punching bag. Or God ripped the band-aid off and said, all right, I'm going to show you who he is. Get ready. Rip that band-aid off. I went through my pain. I did everything I had to do. But in the end, I'm doing what's intended. And that's just the way it is. Things happen for a reason, guys. Things don't happen for a reason. Okay? That discard, that rage, everything, all of it coming out on the table for you, that is God showing you. This is the person you're dealing with. This is not the person I sent you. This is not the person that I wanted in your life. This is not the person that I am approving of. This is not the person. This is not your person. And you have people who walk around talking about, and I even thought the same thing, guys. So I'm not even going to make fun of people who think like this. But you have people who talk about twin flames and all that. And I thought the same thing. Clearly thought the same thing. So much to the point that I even told them, you're my twin flame. You're my twin flame. Twin flame. That's supposed to be a flame, guys. But you know what I mean. And I thought that. I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn. They have the whole, you guys heard of the whole twin flame motto, it's you're one half of the soul, the other person's the other half of the soul, and you come together, and then what happens? Your twin flame's the runner, and you're the chaser, and then they're the chaser, and then you're the runner. Listen. No, not a narcissist. No, anybody who's meant to be in your life from God, they're going to be in your life. They're going to be in your life, and they're going to stay in your life. Okay, that's it. Anybody else who's not of God, anybody else who is whatever outside of God, they're only there for a season, honey. That's it. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay, I know I probably have missed a couple of people, and I'm sorry if I did. I get so into it when I talk to you guys, and I enjoy it so much. I enjoy being with you, and I enjoy Amanda. You're so right, Erica. Everything happens. Yeah, everything does. Everything happens for a reason, guys. Everything happens for a reason. Everything doesn't happen. So if it did not work out, the way you had hoped, the way you wanted it to, it's because God has another plan for you. Okay? So if it does not work out for you, does not mean that things are not meant to happen. It just means that it's not, that particular situation is not meant for you. It's not meant to be in your life for an extended period of time. And it's okay. And it's okay to feel the way you do. It's okay to, some of you are probably maybe still ruminate. Some of you probably gone through your situations. It's perfectly fine. You're human. You are human. Don't beat yourselves up. But I will tell you this, after you're done with everything, clearing out the energy, clearing out the BS, the nonsense, doing your healing, and everything that you needed to do as far as your work is concerned, I want you to promise me, when all is said and done, that you're going to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Okay? And when the time comes that you say, I forgive myself, I want you to let me know. I want you to email me and say, hey, Erica, just want to let you know, I forgave myself. Because that's the most important. The only person's forgiveness that you need is yourself. That's all you need. You need forgiveness for yourself. Okay? Even if you send these people to carajo land, that's fine. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and know that you are worth so much more. You're worth so much more. Worth so much more happiness. I've met so many cool people. So many cool people. You guys are awesome, and new people come each and every day. More new people come every day, and I'm so happy that it's reaching different people all over the place. I got people from the UK. I got people from where else? I have people from the other side of the world. One time I had somebody from Indonesia, Africa, You know, you have people in Mexico, Portugal. It's just crazy, and it's amazing, and it's awesome, and I'm so glad. I'm glad I could be here with you guys. I'm glad I can just, you know, be part of your journey. It really is an amazing experience, and it's really awesome to know that you know, you guys are here, and I can be your support, whatever way you need, however way you need it. All right, so I'm still in progress myself, but at the end of the day, we work together and make it happen, right? So yeah, Amanda. So guys, I want to thank each and every one of you so very much for being here with me. I want to thank you all for showing each other love, you know, helping each other out, talking to each other. It's just freaking awesome, man. It's awesome. And, you know, just every Tuesday, I look forward. I get so excited because I look forward to be here with you. And for those who couldn't make it, they'll catch it on the stream. So I'm not worried about it. If they have questions, they know to leave me a comment. But and to everyone who's new, who, you know, subscribed and is part of the family, welcome. I welcome you with open arms. And, you know, you have a lot of people with really big hearts here who are just trying to heal and try to help other people. You can't ask for more awesome people than that. You seriously can't. So guys, you guys make this such a wonderful experience. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for, you know, for sharing and for helping and for showing love. And it's amazing. God is good. You know, he's going to bring the people that you need in your life. And I believe he's brought a lot of you here. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or anything you want to add, leave it in the comment section, please. If you want to reach out to me, Amanda posted up my email address. You can shoot me an email if you have any questions or if you need any help with anything. I'll be more than glad to help in whatever way I can. All right. Don't forget, catch me on Intuitive Vibes has a Facebook page. It's Intuitive Vibes, Narc Survival 101. You can't miss it. It's probably a very unique kind of name. But you know, if you have a Facebook, be sure to like it on Facebook. If you want to, you know, if you have an IG, Instagram, I have an IG as well. Intuitive.empath83. Add me on there. All right. And I will keep you guys up to date and informed on any possible new videos. I might still resume doing the 3-minute clips for you guys, just to give you a little something for the day. So if that helps you guys, I'll definitely do that for you. All right. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Carmen, thank you, Mama. Thank you for joining me. Cicely, Tyree, all of you guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Please give me a like on the way out. Thank you very much. And I guess that's pretty much it. I gotta finish up some work because I got a lot going on this week, but I'm gonna get to it. So guys, I love you all. I shouldn't have done that because this is not my matte lipstick. I love you all, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you need, you know, if you share the video, do what you do. If you know anybody who's going through it, you know, send them this way, bring them along, and we'll help them get through it. Promise you on that. We'll help them get through it. So, guys, I'll see you all next week. All right. Love you all. Bye.